Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're exploring something I think, I think many of us know intimately. That feeling.
Like a quiet wait, almost a slow tide rolling in.
Yes, exactly. That kind of dread, maybe, that can descend right before a news cycle, like the start of the week.
Yeah.
It's not exactly pain, but it's this deep reluctance.
It's incredibly common, a hidden struggle almost.
Yeah.
But maybe the first step is just to pause with that feeling and ask, what is this struggle really about? Is it the demands themselves, or is it maybe our own inner resistance, our fight against life just being what it is in that moment?
Okay, that shift feels significant. Because when I feel that reluctance, it genuinely feels like suffering. It feels real, like my body's actually fighting something. So where does that friction, that struggle actually come from? It feels external.
Well, there's a difference, isn't there, between inevitable difficulty, unavoidable pain perhaps, and the friction we add on top.
Friction, like the suffering part.
Exactly. That extra layer often comes from clinging. We cling to how we wish things were, how we wanted the day or week to be. We argue internally with what is. And that argument, that resistance, that's what eats up so much energy.
I get the idea,
Yeah.
Philosophically, don't fight reality.
Yeah.
But looking at a demanding week, that feeling of resistance feels so authentic. Like my spirit is fighting for freedom or something.
Yeah.
It's hard to just dismiss it as like a choice I'm making.
Think about this image. It comes up in various ways. Think of a river. It just flows, doesn't it? It accepts the clear water, the muddy water after rain, the sunlight, fallen leaves, bits of turbulence. It doesn't stop and curse the brown leaves or try to push the current away.
Right, it just keeps moving.
It just flows. And our struggle, the one that makes Monday morning feel like this huge obstacle, it's often like us standing on the bank trying desperately to build a dam because we don't like the color of one single leaf floating by.
Let's look on it.
Well, it's often futile.
That really lands, because it's true, isn't it? We don't just see meeting at 9 a.m. We instantly add these stories. This meeting will drain me, or this task means my free time is gone. We paint this neutral thing, this block of time, as some kind of villain. It's like we create these prisons out of our own projections.
And that's where, ancient insights and modern understanding really align. The external thing, the alarm clock, the email, it's neutral, essentially.
Okay.
But our belief about it, our interpretation, that's what triggers the biological stress response. When you resist, you're essentially telling your body there's a threat.
Fight or flight.
Exactly. Cortisol spikes, energy plummets. You feel genuinely under attack. That heaviness you mentioned at the start, it's often just attachment in disguise, attachment to ease maybe, or control, wearing a fear costume.
Wow. So the resistance itself becomes this draining feedback loop. Started by wanting things to be different, easier than they are.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the way out, the liberation, if you like, it starts the moment we stop fighting the day.
Okay.
The moment we stop, the day kind of stops fighting us back. It's not about giving up, not passive resignation. It's more like turning the light around.
Turning the light around.
Instead of asking, how do I survive this? How do I get through this obligation? We ask something different. Maybe, what is this moment actually trying to teach me? Or simply, what is here right now?
That sounds freeing in theory, but practically speaking, when I'm tired, maybe stressed already, my mind just defaults to that sigh, that negativity. It feels involuntary. How do I actually do that? Introduce that openness when my reflex is just to recoil.
That reflex is completely understandable. Our brains have this built-in negativity bias, right? It's an evolutionary thing, noticing the potential threat faster than the blessing helped us survive.
Sure, makes sense.
But the good news is the brain is also plastic. It can change. Every single time you meet that feeling of reluctance, that, ugh, here we go again feeling, and instead of automatically sighing or tensing up, you just take one conscious breath.
Yeah.
Just one. You are literally weakening the old pathway of resistance and strengthening a new one. A pathway of presence.
So, okay. If I feel that tension starting, the simplest thing is notice it, breathe, and try not to immediately jump to the usual story about it.
You've hit the core distinction right there. There's the unavoidable pain or difficulty, the challenging task, the long commute. That's real.
Right.
And then there's the optional suffering, the story we layer on top. I'm not good enough for this. This is going to be awful. I can't handle this.
The narrative.
Exactly. Strip away that narrative. What's actually left? Just a task. Just a day unfolding. Just an expenditure of energy that's required. The opportunity is simply to show up for that expenditure fully without the extra weight of the story.
Thinking about the structure of the week, Those obligations often feel like this heavy, grinding routine. How can we possibly find any, I don't know, meaning or even a bit of quiet magic in those ordinary things we have to do, instead of just seeing them as hurdles?
Well, that comes through cultivating something we might call ritualized living. It's not about escaping the routine, it's about re-enchanting it.
Re-enchanting routine. I like that.
How? Through small, intentional acts. Simple things that anchor you in the present. The way you pour your morning tea or coffee, maybe. A deliberate pause before you launch into a difficult task. Taking, say, 2 deep breaths before opening that email you're dreading.
These little moments of intention.
Yes, they bring you back. They make the ordinary sacred in a way.
I love that idea, re-enchanting the mundane. But I have to push back a little here. What about when the work is genuinely not inspiring or even kind of toxic? It seems easy to romanticize, say, a monk raking gravel beautifully. But how does that help me when I have an impossible deadline or a really difficult boss? Isn't there a risk of just spiritual bypassing, pretending things are okay when they're not?
That's a really important point, an excellent challenge. This isn't about pretending toxicity isn't real or ignoring the need for boundaries or pretending systemic issues don't exist. Absolutely not.
Okay.
The point is more subtle. It's that your inner state, your relationship with the present moment, remains fundamentally yours, regardless of the external weather.
So even if the situation is bad, my internal response doesn't have to be.
Exactly. Think about that monk raking the gravel. Is the goal just perfect lines? Maybe partly. But more deeply, the task itself is the practice. The task is the path to presence. You're invited to fully inhabit the moment, whatever it holds. Not trying to rush through it to get to some imagined future peace, but finding a way to embody presence within the moment, even a difficult one.
So it's about practicing, like the right attitude or action maybe, regardless of whether the circumstances feel ideal or actually quite terrible.
You could frame it as right action, yes, which simply means doing whatever you're doing with full awareness and care, whether it's a huge project or just sending an email.
Even a simple email.
Especially the simple things, listening fully to someone even when you disagree, taking a mindful sip of water between tasks. When people start to infuse these ordinary activities with that quality of attention, seeing their work maybe as a small contribution rather than just a chore, they often report feeling much better. Notice, the outward circumstance might not have changed at all, but their inner frame, their awareness, has.
But what about when motivation just tanks, when I feel totally drained, and all I can think is, I just need to get through this? How do I shift from that kind of self-focused survival mode to something, well, more meaningful?
There's a beautiful, very small, very portable practice for that. It's about recentering the purpose after you complete something. Anything, really. Even finishing that boring spreadsheet you mentioned. Just pause for a second. And internally, quietly, offer the energy or the effort of that act towards something larger than just yourself.
Offer the energy. How does that work?
It could be for the well-being of others, for understanding, for peace. Whatever resonates. It reframes the whole thing. Suddenly, the task isn't just something you had to endure to be okay. It becomes an offering. The motivation shifts subtly from, I need to do this for me, to, may the energy of this effort contribute somehow. It lightens the load somehow.
That's interesting. Shifting the focus outward. I also need things I can actually do during a busy workday. Practices that fit in when I already feel overloaded.
Then focus on the pause. The sacred pause. The moment between, we spend so much time rushing, right? From one thing straight into the next. We kind of destroy that transition space.
Yeah, definitely. Back-to-back meetings.
So consciously build in tiny gaps. Maybe just 90 seconds of silence between calls or tasks, or just 3 conscious breaths after you hang up from a difficult conversation.
Just 90 seconds.
These micro moments of stillness, they're incredibly powerful. They don't actually take time away from your day. They feel like they give you time back. By restoring your presence, your equilibrium.
Okay, micro pauses. But what about when difficult emotions come up during the work? You know, real frustration or boredom or even anger. Do we just push those down with these pauses?
Oh, never suppress them. No, the invitation is to meet them. Meet them with, well, with genuine curiosity.
Curiosity. Towards anger.
Yes. Turn towards the feeling, gently, and ask it quietly, what are you trying to tell me? Is this frustration maybe masking tiredness? Is this boredom pointing to a need for clearer boundaries or perhaps a different kind of engagement?
So listening to the emotion, not just trying to fix it or get rid of it.
Exactly. Listening. Understanding its underlying message. True transformation doesn't usually happen through denial or fighting. It happens when we turn towards what's difficult, with attention, with kindness if possible. And if we zoom out again, look at the bigger cycle, the beginning of a new week or a new month. It really is like that moment just before dawn, isn't it?
How do you mean?
That suspended silence, where everything feels possible again. We've been kind of conditioned to fear it, maybe as the end of our weekend freedom, but what if it's actually a sacred reset, a chance every week to be reborn into the present?
A chance to start fresh, without dragging along all the failures or regrets from the last cycle.
That's the heart of it. That's what's sometimes called beginner's mind. Approaching this moment, this day, without the heavy backpack of past judgments. The new day doesn't carry a memory of your mistakes from last Friday. It just offers, here, now, begin again.
That idea, stepping into the new week totally clean. It's really hopeful. But it also feels maybe a bit psychologically tricky, because we do remember past struggles, past pains. Is there any sort of psychological basis for why starting a new week can actually feel like a reset?
Yes, there is actually. Psychologists talk about this. They observe that these temporal landmarks, like a Monday morning, the first of the month, a birthday even, they trigger something called the fresh start effect. It's because these markers feel like they create a symbolic break from your past self.
That's interesting.
So you feel a little bit distinct from the you who maybe procrastinated or felt overwhelmed last week. This actually boosts your sense of capability, your self-efficacy, and makes you more likely to set intentions and act in line with your deeper values. You see the future you as slightly separate and potentially better.
That really helps ground it. It's not just a nice idea, it's a real psychological mechanism we can tap into. So it's about consciously laying down that burden of not enough, not productive enough, not happy enough.
Yes. And perhaps we can commit to just one small, almost defiant act of self-compassion when we start the day or the week. Just a quiet internal promise. Today, I will not punish myself for yesterday.
That feels radical.
Yes, that's the promise of the new beginning. It doesn't demand perfection. It just asks that you show up as you are. Raw, maybe, but willing to be present.
Yeah.
And perhaps one final, very practical thing, start the day with a micro vow.
A micro vow, not a big resolution.
No, nothing grand, just a whisper to yourself. Maybe today I will try to respond rather than just react. Or today I will remember that I am enough, just as I am.
Okay.
And the real practice isn't about keeping that vow perfectly all day long. None of us do. The practice is in the gentle act of returning to that intention every single time you notice you've forgotten it. That return is the practice.
Wow. This whole journey we've walked through, it feels like shifting from seeing the week as this battleground I have to survive, to seeing it more like a field of practice maybe, that I get to inhabit.
That's beautifully put, exactly. The day isn't an enemy simply because it contains difficulty. It feels like an enemy because we've often been taught, subtly or overtly, to see life itself as a kind of war.
Yeah, a war against time or demands or our own perceived limits.
Right, but the path to feeling freer, more at peace, isn't usually found in escaping the demands. The path is awakening through our participation, finding presence right here in the midst of it all.
So the invitation is really to lean in, instead of bracing for impact when Monday looms.
Yes, lean in gently. When you feel that shadow of the week approaching, greet it. Not as a harsh master you have to obey, but maybe as a mirror. A chance to see yourself clearly, perhaps with a more open, unarmored heart. And maybe this is the thought to carry forward. The problem was never really the start of the week itself. The challenge was perhaps forgetting. Forgetting that every single beginning, every Monday morning, every new task is a gift, often wrapped in very ordinary, everyday paper. Just waiting for you to open it with presence, maybe even with a little bit of wonder. Go forward, perhaps, and step into the day. Not as a soldier bracing for battle, but maybe as a student or even a dancer, ready to engage with time,